Jenny Carlson talking to Vince Grippi. He covers Washington State for the Spokesman-Review. Vince, let's talk a little defense for a second. Defensive line is a source of optimism for Washington State, but this was a group that last year was 4th from last in the nation against the run, 6th from last in the nation in pass defense. Why is there so much positive vibe around this defensive line group this year?
Well, a couple reasons. First, last year they were just decimated by injuries across the entire defense. They had 3 broken legs in this defensive secondary. Some of the 40-year coaches there have never seen that in one season, 3 broken legs. So they felt like, that they've got a lot of kids back, and they went out and recruited a defensive lineman, a junior college defensive lineman. Actually, they recruited him 2 years ago. It took him a year to get eligible. And while he was getting eligible down in North Carolina, he was offered a scholarship at Alabama. He had a visit from Coach Saban and was offered a scholarship. And he decided to stay with Washington State, who helped him get his grades together and get to college. And he is a man-child. His name's Brandon Rankin. He's 6'5". He's 281 pounds, and maybe the quickest college football player I've seen, and I'm 53 years old. It amazes me how quick he can get off the ball. And just his presence has changed the defensive front so much. They can do so many more different things. So as long as Rankin stays healthy, I think there is a reason for optimism.
This is a young group. You mentioned some of those young guys, some junior college guys. This Saturday will be their first big-time college football experience for a lot of them. How do you see this defensive front especially responding to that?
Well, it's funny. I asked the same question to Brandon Long, the sophomore defensive end, who last year was kind of a breakout player for me. He was honorable mention all Pac-10 as a true freshman. And he was talking about how all during camp everybody kept saying, "Oh no, games are different. Games are different." And he kept laughing. There's no way. They're the same. So Travis was saying that he got in that first game. He said, "Oh yeah, this is really different." So I do think it'll cause some problems because they really don't know what they're going against, some of them, and it'll be interesting to see how they react, especially with however loud the crowd is and when things start going, the adversity starts kicking in. I want to see how they will react.
A group that will be tested, we suspect, against this Oklahoma State offense is the Washington State secondary because of this new high-powered, pass-happy offense that Oklahoma State is installing. Talk a little bit about that secondary. What can Cowboy fans expect to see out of the Cougars secondary?
Well, they have a lot of young kids there. I think there's 6 freshmen and sophomores in the top 8. And they got a little hurt this week when Leandre Daniels, one of their projected, at least their nickelback, as a starter's nickelback, broke his neck in practice. It's not like he was paralyzed or anything. He just had a crack in his neck, and he'll never play football again. And that kind of hit the team pretty hard this last week. And also hurt the secondary. And they've had a couple other guys that are nicked up, 2 starters that they expect to start a corner. They're not sure whether they're going to be able to go. So it could be really tested. It's going to be a bunch of young guys, including probably 2 true freshmen, running around back there, and I'm sure there'll be some mistakes. But the one thing they have over last year is they've really improved their team speed back there, and that should help them a little bit.